Well, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the All Night Show, where we get down into the nitty gritty of this itty bitty thing we call life. Today is January 26, 2022. It's a beautiful sunny winter morning here in South Mississippi. Just one of those mornings where you wake up, after the dreary cold spells that we've had in the past week or two. I know our cold down here in South Mississippi doesn't compare to some people's cold, but it gets pretty cold down here. Plus, with that humid, wet Gulf air blowing at you whenever it's 26 degrees outside and the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour, it feels like somebody's sandblasting you with ice. Pretty chilly, and then you get a morning like this morning. It was still pretty cool, 30 degrees when I woke up. A little light frost on the ground, but it's just one of those mornings where the sun's in its full glory, and nature hasn't really been exposed to the sun for a full day in quite a little while, so it just has a different feeling about it. It makes me feel kind of special on mornings like this morning that I get to enjoy such a beautiful experience, as just an average person, and so that kind of leads into what I want to talk about today, and I'm going to probably call this episode The Future. So what does that mean? The future, in my mind, when I think about the future, what does that mean? And how do we, if we're thinking about the future, as humans, we have the gift, the ability to contemplate our thoughts and actions and how they will affect what is to come later in life. So whenever we think about something today that we want to achieve 10 years from now, we have to start planning, start putting pieces of a puzzle together today in order to reach it tomorrow. And I think that's very important, and I don't think that we're taught that much anymore. I have had a few role models through my life that have always, stressed the fact that no matter how corny it might sound, you should set goals for yourself, short-term goals and long-term goals. And you have to have those goals, and no matter what the outcome is, it's beneficial for you because it's giving you a sense of purpose. It's giving you a sense of accomplishment once you start ticking some of those goals off your list. And it gives you that direction in life. Without it, you're just another pawn out here in this great vast ocean of bodies. I don't think a lot of us really ever stop to think about how many people there are on the earth, compared to just 100 years ago. There were 8.5 billion projected for this year people on the planet. In the United States, pushing 400 million people. I mean, yeah, we still have a lot of open land here in the United States, but with that many people, there's going to be a large majority of people who are just kind of floating. And I honestly, for a long time in my life, I was one of those people. I floated through life, day to day, gotta live for today, and that's all good. But it needs to still be designed. It still needs to be something that you're aware of, that you're conscious of, what your goal is for that day. If you're that type of person like I was, but I've learned that I'm not very productive when I think in that mindset. I'm more productive whenever I try to plan things out at least like a week, and then have some long-term goals set as well. And those long-term goals I may not think about on a daily basis, but once you put them in to your mind, once you write them down one time, once you verbally speak them one time, say, in 10 years from now, I want to have $1 million in the bank. And some people might laugh at that, but if you put that in today, and that's true, that's something that you truly want to try to achieve, regardless if you ever think about it again, it's running in your mind. Your mind's trying to figure out how can I get that $1 million? And chances are, you may not end up with $1 million in the bank, but you'll actually have some money in the bank in 10 years. You'll actually have started your savings account, and maybe you got halfway there. That's still freaking amazing. If you're my age, by the time you're 40 years old, you got $500,000 in the bank. I mean, I don't know many people that age now that have, $250,000 in their bank account, let alone $500,000 or $1 million. And it's truly, in this day and age, not that hard to do. I haven't done it, but I know that the percentages of people that do it have increased over the years rather than decreased. It's easier now to make money than it ever has been before. But when we're back, we're talking about the future, what we're thinking about today. I tell my kids, my oldest child, who's 14, and she gets tired of hearing it. I see it in her eyes when I talk about it. I enjoy what I call the sacred herb that God put on this planet for us to use as medicine for our minds and our bodies. And anybody that uses marijuana to treat any kind of pain or psychological problem, depression, whatever, that a lot of times it will allow you to really think deeper than you're usually able to think. It allows you to connect thoughts in a way that you've never been able to connect them, without that substance. And for good or bad, I know some people still don't think that people should be using it. Well, I don't think that everybody should be drinking, 72 Cokes a day and eating cheeseburgers 3 times a day. I don't think that that's good for people, and I think we have a lot of evidence that shows that it isn't. But I'm not judging. I don't really care what people think about me, and I don't really care what you do with your life. As long as you're not affecting me or hurting me or my family, you can do whatever the hell you want. So whenever you're using that, it allows you to think. And my oldest, she gets on me all the time. She says, "You're just high." Well, yeah, maybe I am, but a lot of times I'm not, because I start talking about this to her. And I think it's very important to talk about setting goals, looking to the future with our kids, because I had some of it growing up, but man, like I tell her all the time, I wish somebody would have told me, given me the opportunity to say, "All right, Kyle, you don't have to go spend 8 hours of your day at this place, which is supposed to be teaching you everything you need to know about life. It's supposed to be preparing you for the world, once you leave it. You don't have to go spend 8 hours a day in that place and then come home and do homework. No, you get to wake up, help with your brothers and sisters, help with a few chores, but then the rest of the day is yours to really dive deep into what you want to build for your life. And at that age, those teenage years, those are crucial years. And I try to express to her that I don't care what it is. It doesn't have to be anything that anybody's ever even heard of before. But as long as you're dedicating yourself to this task and learning something about it every day, and getting excited about things that you're accomplishing, things that you're learning. Like she's, like most kids, she's big into videos online, TikTok, and there's been so many of them through the years, but I know the latest and greatest was TikTok. I don't use it. I don't like her to use it, but there's things that I've done that my parents didn't like. And I think the buffer, the solution to our kids being constantly in front of screens is one, obviously, don't allow them to have screen time whenever they want. That's kind of hard to do. You can't constantly be over them. You can take it from them, but sometimes the education comes from the screen, and sometimes whenever they're caught up, they should be allowed to have their freedom of screen time, because we don't know what the world's going to be like in 20 years. They could be using that screen more and more every year. That could be how they make their money. But the main way that we buffer them using the screens, being caught up in that life all the time as parents, I think, is just communication, real life communication. Let's talk about what it is to have to grow up, be an adult, and live your life, because that's what all of us are doing. We start off as a kid, we love those years. A lot of us, like me, we can't wait till we grow up. There's a certain age, 21, so I can buy alcohol. And then you get 21 and you do those things, and then 5 years later you're like, yeah, but now what do I look forward to? And then it's, getting married, having kids, raising a family, building a house of your own. There's so many little things that we take for granted that are enough. It's enough to just be a parent that provides for your kids, no matter how you do it. If your kids are fed, sheltered, and loved, that's enough. That's enough as a person. You don't need to prove anything else to anybody else. Our house is a disaster 9 times out of 10, but I'm still proud of what me and my wife, especially my wife, accomplished. We have 3 kids now, and on a single income, we keep those kids fed. We keep insurance for them. We keep them healthy for the most part. We just dealt with the COVIDs. Every one of us got it, but we're alive and we're growing, and we do talk a lot with our kids. We're forced to. They're homeschooled. We enjoy actually being a family together. But I think that, like I try to tell her all the time, it doesn't matter what you go for. You just need to go for something, because whenever we just say, I'm a person that lives day by day, you're missing out on so many opportunities. You're not, I don't know, in my personal experience, whenever I don't plan things out, whenever I don't write down my thoughts of what I need to accomplish, I almost get like an anxious feeling, like I'm missing something, like I'm supposed to be doing something. I don't know what it is because I didn't write it down, and then I go to sleep with a worrying feeling, And a lot of times it's nothing really. It's just me wanting to be productive, and with infant at the house and 2 other kids, it's kind of hard to get out and do all those homesteading things that you want to do, especially when it's cold outside and everybody's already sick. I don't really want to drag the baby around out in cold, wet weather. Probably wouldn't be too good for him. But a lot of times it's just me putting too much pressure on myself to try to achieve too many things at once. So I think that that's the main thing is we need to lower the bar for ourselves at the same time as we raise the bar for ourselves. You know, if there's something that you truly want to achieve in your life, that's what that goal is for. You set those goals, and today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today you start making the pieces of the puzzle fit together. But at the same time, all these societal norms that we're supposed to be upholding to, that, you know, you can't be a part of this clique if you don't have these clothes or this kind of new of a vehicle, or you don't go to Disney World once a week or once a year, you know, you don't take 3 vacations, you know, all of these societal norms that make you think that you're fitting in, that you're okay, you're cool with the clique. We got to get rid of those things and start living for what this real life really is, and that is, you know, for the majority of us, you know, we can't stop it. We're growing, we're aging every day, and I've come to know over my short little life here on earth that most elderly people, when they get up in that age, they revert back to simple things, you know, working with their hands on something, whether it's you know, sewing or knitting or woodworking or in the garden, working with their hands, and just simply loving their family, wanting to spend quality time with their kids and their grandkids and, you know, their neighbors, and just building real life memories that, as they say, may flash before your eyes whenever it is time to go to the other side, whatever that may bring. So I think that's it, and I think that everyone can benefit from that. You know, once again, you set those goals, short term, long term, but at the same time, lower the standards of what other people make you feel about yourself. You know, especially with the use of social media these days. That's why I want to be a content creator. I want to make these videos. I enjoy making videos on a regular basis, but I have a very hard time being a member of social media because I can't view it as real life, because it takes me away from my real life. You know, being in that screen, being in that world, it doesn't allow me to be present with the people that are actually in front of me at that time. And there's usually always somebody in front of me, whether I'm working like I am now, headed to a customer's place, or whether it's being at home where, you know, there's 3 kids and a wife there that deserve my attention. That's kind of the reason I'm sporadic with my videos, and maybe the 14-year-old will get, since she likes videos, maybe she'll start filming for me and she can do all the uploading and doing it on social media, and I don't really have to spend that much time on it. But anyways, that's enough of my jabbering for today. I hope that I encouraged y'all to think about setting those goals. I know we're already past the new year. Everybody likes to set New Year's resolutions, but I think it's something that we should think about at least a couple times a week, if not every day. Some people say, you know, I think Nicole Sauce, Awesome Sauce, up at Living Free in Tennessee, I think she come up with my 3 things, and I think that's a great system where you wake up every morning and you write down the 3 things that you will accomplish that day. And that way, no matter what, You got 3 things accomplished that day that make you feel better, and it really does. It's medicine. But anyways, we love you guys. I hope that everyone can find a light of happiness in these dark times. And remember, we are nature, and we'll see y'all next time.